Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are doing a Q&A. I'm with my little best friend Maggie, and we are both in Zeta Tau Alpha chapter at Longwood University. Today we are just doing a little Q&A, and we wanted to talk about sorority life at Longwood. I posted a question story, I'll put it right here for an example of what I posted, and I asked people for questions that they had about rushing, sorority life, all of that at Longwood. And I got some really good questions back, and I'm really excited to answer them. We'll try and help you the most as possible. And we just really wanted to help y'all, because I remember going into my freshman year, I remember being completely clueless. I'm like, wait, when do I even like join a sorority when I get to Longwood? So hopefully this video will help you out some, and yeah, so we'll get right into it. So I have all the questions here on my phone, and the first one is, when is recruitment?
So recruitment's a week before school starts, second semester. For me, I think it was like January 10th until the 14th. I mean, it's different every single year depending on when second semester starts.
So recruitment is normally 3 to 4 days. I can't 100% remember. You will get so much more information about that as it gets closer. All you need to know is that it's like in the middle of January, like right before we go back to school. So just expect that. Plan for it at the end of your winter break to not go on any vacations or anything, because I know that happened to a few people and they had to cancel their vacation plans.
Yeah, Longwood CPC will be posting stuff about it too. Like each sorority will be posting about like when you should sign up for recruitment. For me, it was all over Zoom, so I didn't go back to school or anything, and I just did recruitment like in my room. But this year, I'm pretty sure that it will be in person. Yeah. But you're gonna go back to school early and then just do recruitment like that. I mean, I never experienced that.
Get a ton of more information, and I most likely will do another recruitment only sorority like Q&A thing once it gets really close.
Yeah.
And y'all can ask more like in-depth questions about recruitment and rush and all that in general. But overall, yeah, you'll just go back to your dorm and be able to stay there for a couple of days before school starts and do recruitment, and it is so much fun. Definitely suggest it, even if you're kind of on the edge about joining a sorority or not. It doesn't hurt to go through recruitment. You can always, at the end of it, be like, I don't want to join a sorority. No big deal. And yeah, I think that's it for that question.
So the next question is, when do you know that you found your group of people or home? So for me, I actually felt like I knew like first day. It's really the girls that you feel like could be your forever friends. Like you want a sorority that's going to be there for you no matter what, like have your back. Loyalty is a big thing for me, because I want people that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, like friendships that I know will last forever, and girls that will pick me up like when I'm feeling down and just try to push me to be a better person. You can really tell like going through the recruitment process like who you vibe with and who you don't.
You may be on the fence a little bit about one sorority or another, but by the end, by the third day, you will get that gut feeling and know. Like I remember one of my worries going into recruitment was like, oh no, like what if one sorority, what if I really want two of them and I can't decide? Like you will know. There are very few people that I know of at least that are like completely torn. And no matter what you choose, you end up in the right place. Whether I've known people that literally flip a coin on the last day and like decide that way, and then they are so happy with where they end up. I really think everything happens the way it's supposed to, and it just works out really well. But how I knew Zeta was my home, at least, is I just felt so comfortable with all the girls. I just didn't have to feel odd. Okay, so the next question is, what is the best thing about being in a sorority? And I love this question because there are so many good things to choose from, but the best thing definitely would just be like making genuine friendships. I have made so many friends since being in Zeta, like Maggie, for instance, my little she's like my best friend, and I would not have met her without Zeta. Just finding girls that all have like the same values, like we've said before, like lifelong friendships, and that's my favorite thing about being in a sorority, is just like all of the people I've met.
So for me, I didn't really have like a strong friend group in high school, so I knew going to college I wanted to find like genuine friendships that I would have forever, because I would hear my mom talking about it all the time. My mom was also in a sorority too, so she would tell me about her stories. They were in her wedding, like they were her bridesmaids, all that stuff. So I was looking for, like I said before, a group of girls that like showed loyalty, and I knew they were going to be there for me no matter what. My favorite thing about being in a sorority is just having a group of girls that are so genuine, you know will be there for you no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're best friends with them or if you're not close with them at all. They will literally have your back, like, no matter what. It doesn't matter what the age difference is. Like, all the girls just genuinely want to be friends with you. Like, it isn't even a friend group at that point. It's more like a family. Like, I think of these girls as like my family that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. So the next question is how time consuming is being in a sorority slash the average time you spend each week. So it really just depends on how much you want to be involved. Like, I know some people that dedicate so much time and are so passionate about it, and then some girls do like little things, like there's EC and PC positions, but it really just depends on how involved you want to be. There are certain events that like you are supposed to go to, like different booths that you should go to. I wasn't super involved just because, one, it was hard with COVID and I was new too, so I just wanted to focus more on school. But this year I definitely want to be more involved, so it just depends on your workload.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it is as big or as small of a workload as you make it. You can spend all hours of the day on your sorority or whatever, focusing on that if you want, or spend as little time as you want. It really just depends how involved. Like she said, there's EC, which is when you start getting really involved. EC is executive council, and that's where you hold positions like president, secretary, philanthropy. All of those are EC. Depending on your sorority, it varies from each one, but that's at least how it works in Zeta. And you really have to be passionate about it. And then if you want to be a little less involved, a little less workload, then you can do a PC position.
But Vega did a PC position this past year where she just ran the Spirit and Sunshine Instagram account. Oh.
And I'm not sure if every sorority calls it EC, PC, but most sororities have that like 2-tier type of thing. It really just depends, and you can ask all these questions as you go through recruitment, because of course we're only educated on Zeta. But I can if like anyone wants information on other sororities, I can definitely point you in the right direction.
And you also don't have to take an EC or PC position. Yeah. It's really just up to how involved you want to be. Yeah,
I know some people that are doing like EC, PC, and like this and that, and some people aren't really doing anything, and it just depends what you want to do. It depends if you want to show up to the sisterhood events or not. It really just depends how involved, how busy you are, and no one blames you if you can't show up to things. Everyone is so understanding. Everyone knows you're in college, taking a full college load and doing all your other things. It really is just how much you want to make it your life. And I'm definitely the kind of person that didn't make the sorority my whole life. I have it a part of my life, but not my whole life. And I know some people that it's their whole life. And it really just depends what you want, and you can really just get a feel for it. But it is way less time consuming than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like every day, all this, and it really isn't. And it depends from sorority to sorority, but so far in my experience, it hasn't been too overwhelming at all. Okay, so our next question is, what influenced you to rush? So I was always kind of set on joining a sorority, but I didn't know much about it. Like Maggie, her mom was in a sorority, but no one in my family had ever done Greek life, known anything about it. But I had like heard about it, you know, you see it in movies, which it is so different than how it is in movies. Like, do not watch a movie and think that's how Greek life is, especially at Longwood. It is so different. What really like gave me that push and introduced me to Greek life and really made me want to be a part of that is I would walk around campus to my classes, and I would see the philanthropy booths, and all the people were all so nice and so passionate and so welcoming. And then I would go to their open house events. Each sorority does one open house, if not more, within the first semester, and that's when you really get to know sororities. And it's a really good, I definitely suggest going to all the open houses, even if it's a sorority you're not really sure about or haven't really heard that much about. It does not hurt to spend like an hour, not even an hour of your time to like check out their sorority and go to the open house. But that definitely is what pushed me to join, was I just loved the welcoming environment. Everyone seemed like best friends, and it's an easy way to get involved and just meet new people. Mainly, one of the things in college, you want to meet as many people, make as many connections as possible. And a sorority, hands down, in my opinion at least, is like the best way to do that.
And if you are on the fence about rushing and everything, I feel like open houses are definitely the best thing to go to. even if you decide not to rush, at least you like go to the open houses and meet the girls, because you might go to an open house and be like, oh, this girl's actually in my class, and then you guys can become friends like based off of that.
Go to the open houses.
Yes.
Like, go to all of them. I went to pretty much all of them. Such a good experience, whether you're even interested in that sorority. It gives you a little taste of what Greek life is like. You meet a lot of new people, you learn about their philanthropies, and also Longwood at least does this thing called Meet the Greeks. I'm not sure if they're doing it this year. They've done it in past years, so I think they will. When I went through, at least, it was in the gym, and they had all the booths set up, and you could like meet each sorority for a little bit, and they have the fraternities there too. If that's really good too. Anything Greek life, I would suggest going, because you just meet so many people, and if you don't even join that sorority or join Greek life, it's a familiar face that you see around campus, and y'all will remember each other. Like, Longwood is not that big, and you'll see people in your classes, so.
And especially like since you are transitioning from like high school to college, you're meeting all these new people. So do as much as you can to get involved, because once you do that, then it opens up all these new doors for new friendships. So the next question is, why does Longwood rush in the spring? So Longwood rushes in the spring so that you can kind of just settle in, since it is a new environment, just get used to your classes and everything, because it is a lot transitioning. So I feel like it was honestly perfect for me and all of my friends, because you have that first semester to just transition, get used to college classes, because it is completely new, you're on your own. Plus, it can be a lot on your workload, like being in a sorority and starting off school, so it's just really good to transition and everything. And also you get that time to really decide, do I want to be in a sorority, do I not want to?
I am so happy that Longwood does rush in the spring. Like, I think every school should do it. I know schools like Alabama, all those big southern schools, do it in the fall, and all my friends that are in sororities like those say it's like so much, and you have to move into school like early August, and it's so much to deal with at once, and I could not imagine having to do that with already transitioning into freshman year, joining a sorority. Like, that is way too much. So I don't really know necessarily why we do it. I think it really is just so it isn't too much on freshmen, but I know a lot of schools are transitioning to the spring rush. And like she said, it can be kind of a lot right when you join a sorority, because you're making like 60 new friends, and it's really overwhelming. So it's really nice that you get that in the second semester after you've already had the first semester to just like transition into college. And yeah, I think that does scare away some people though, that our rush is in the spring. I remember when I heard that, I was like, what the heck, I have to wait like a whole semester, like why can't I just be in a sorority now? But trust me, you will absolutely be so happy that you had the first semester to really transition and get to do all of the normal freshman stuff before you join a sorority. So yeah, spring rush is so good. I'm so happy that Longwood does that. Most people are happy about it. And yeah. So the next question is, are there payment plans? And I know for at least Zeta there are. You can like either pay up front or pay like in like segments. Yeah,
I did the payment plan last semester, and it was 3 separate payments, so it's like good if you're trying to work during school. I pay for my dues, so that was kind of good for me to like budget, since it is split up.
And yeah, I don't really know how payment plans and all that works for each sorority. It really varies. Every sorority at Longwood costs a different price. It does cost some money to go through recruitment, but I'm not really sure any of the specifics of that. But once it gets closer to that, check out the Longwood CPC page, and they will have so much information on all of that, and all of our sororities. Instagrams will keep you informed. And whereas, because I have a couple questions that ask about how much sororities cost, and it really varies. It varies per semester, it varies per sorority, but when you're going through recruitment, that is definitely a question that you ask as you go through the process.
Yeah, it's usually day 2, I think. Yeah, I remember them talking about
day 2, they talk a lot about money. And I remember, at least on our first day, they gave us like this printout of every sorority and how much their costs were, and it like all broken down. And honestly, I know cost is a big deal, but compared to big schools, like I keep using like Alabama, Ole Miss, all those schools, those sororities are an insane amount of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars. And Longwood overall, in my opinion, really isn't that overpriced and pretty doable.
Like, there are a lot of scholarships that you can get. Like my G-Big, she just got a scholarship for Zeta. And then you also have 3 months over summer to work. So that's what I've been doing. Since I am paying for the dues myself, this whole summer I've just been like working to pay for it. Which I think honestly in the long run, it is so worth it. Like, I feel like
so worth it. And I feel like one of the stigmatisms behind sororities, it's like paying for friends, but you aren't. You're really paying for so much for dues, and it is so worth it. And each sorority will give you a price breakdown so you know exactly where your money's going to. It goes towards sisterhood events, which sometimes you go on like trips for those, or you do like fun things like tie-dyeing t-shirts. It really just depends. And like I said, it goes towards formals. And it really is worth it in the long run, in my opinion. Of course, not everyone will agree, but for me personally, I think a sorority is definitely worth the dues, and it isn't just paying for friends, it's paying for all of the events you do with your best friends.
And it is, you're going to be making memories that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So honestly, for me, like, I feel like you can't put a price on those memories that you're going to make. Like, you'll never forget them, and it's all worth it in the end. But you also just have to do what you're most comfortable with. Like, no matter if you are in a sorority or if you aren't, you will find your group of people. So you just have to trust your gut and do what you think is best for you.
Next question, do you like your little? No. Okay.
Yeah, she just hangs out with me every day. The next question is, what are alpha chapters? So alpha chapters are sororities that were founded at that school. So Longwood has 4 alpha chapters: Zeta, Katie, ASA, and Tri-Sig.
And actually, alpha chapters are such a big deal. I know going into freshman year, I had heard the term alpha chapter and I had no clue what that meant or like why it mattered, but it really is such a big deal. I will be talking to other girls in Zeta from other schools, and I'll be like, yeah, I go to Longwood, I'm in Zeta there. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you're the alpha chapter. Every other chapter has to learn about the history of their sorority, and a part of their history is the alpha chapter. So it's kind of cool that schools everywhere around the country learn about little old like Longwood alpha chapter. Like, it's crazy that like Zeta was founded in Farmville, Virginia,
and now there's
Longwood.
Like, what, 200 chapters?
Yeah, now there's like a ton of chapters, and chapters like probably like 10 times bigger than ours.
Yeah,
like, it's insane. And it's really cool to just like flex like, hey, I'm an alpha chapter. Yeah, and
isn't there stuff like around campus?
Yeah, and there's different like landmarks around campus that kind of talk about like us being an alpha chapter. There's been like articles written about Longwood, about us having so many alpha chapters, because it really is kind of rare for a school to have so many. Like, having 4 alpha chapters is a huge deal, and it's definitely something to be very proud of. And I definitely think being an alpha chapter just makes you value your sorority even more at times, because it's just like so cool that you're like, I'm like where they founded this sorority. Like, I am walking in the grounds where they founded it. Like, it's so cool. And I remember once I learned about that, I'm like, oh, that is so sick. And it doesn't take away from sororities that aren't alpha chapters, but it really is something cool to like add on. And like, we have like these alpha chapter sweatshirts, and I get stopped all the time when I wear mine. They're like, oh my gosh, alpha chapter, like, that's insane. And no one ever believes that Longwood University has so many alpha chapters, but we do, and it's so fun. And yeah.
Okay, the next question is, what is sorority big and little? So big and little is just to try to like help you have somebody that's kind of like a mentor for you, like a big sister in your sorority, because I mean, it can be overwhelming at times to have all these new friends. So it will be somebody that's constantly checking on you. Let's say you do go through the recruitment process and you are in a sorority. When you are looking for a big, I feel like you should look for somebody that you know you're going to be best friends with. Like, a lot of people look for somebody that's like more of like a mother figure for them at school. So it really just depends on what you want. But for me personally, I knew that I wanted somebody that was going to be like my best friend, that I was going to like do stuff with all the time. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff together. Like,
yeah.
Kenny States, you need to go to Kenny's.
Go to Kenny's. That is the most important. If you take anything away from this Q&A, go to Kenny's. Tell him Vega and Maggie sent you. Anyways, yeah, sorority big and little is really just to help. There are a lot of reasons for it. Every sorority does it for the most part, I think. Yeah, every sorority does it, but from what I know, at least from what I was taught, it's to help the girls, like as the new girls, have a mentor and someone to help them throughout their time at Zeta, and just someone to have an extra like strong connection and bond with. And going off of like big and little, you have like whole fam, so like her, like my big is her G big, and then sometimes if there's twins, you have like aunties. It's a lot. I can't even get into explaining it, and it's just so like cool to have like literal fam, because you're already so close with all the girls in your sorority, and I already look at them as another family, but to have an even stronger connection and group of people in your sorority to call like literally a family a fam is like so cool. And that was one of my favorite things about joining sorority. There's a question in there that like is, what is one of your favorite memories of being in a sorority? And that definitely is that, like going through like choosing my big and getting her as my little, like her big little basket days. Those were the best. Those are like some of my favorite memories of being in Zeta. And every sorority does reveal differently. Like us, we do ours during a ritual, but I know other sororities don't do that. It really just depends and varies. And these are all questions you ask through recruitment.
And a lot of fams do like in the summer, like fam vacations and stuff like that. So it's like you're gonna be doing this stuff even after you graduate.
Yes.
Like my mom like is still in contact with like her big and her little and stuff. And sometimes they do like random trips and things like that. So like she said, not only is like being in a sorority like your own family, but it's like a small family within that.
Yeah, like I've gone on like trips with my G-Big, and my G-Big graduated before I even joined, and I'm still so close with her, and she comes to visit all the time still, and she still cares so much about your fam, and like we're all gonna be at each other's weddings. It is like one of the best things about joining a sorority is having a fam, and that's even like more people that you can count on. And yeah, big little is so fun. And I don't really want to get too much into it because I know every sorority does it differently, but I'll insert some pictures of her baskets that I made. I had so much fun. That was one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, she gave me so much stuff.
I went hard. I went so hard. It was so much fun, but sorority big little is one of my favorite memories, I think, overall, like in being in Zeta, and it's just such a good time. We just had to move a little bit because the sun is starting to like come in. But for our next question is, would you go back and do anything differently from recruitment? And overall, I'm so happy where I ended up clearly, and I think everyone ends up where they're supposed to be. And it's not that I would do a ton differently, but I would just mainly not stress so hard about the outfits. Like the amount of time and effort and all that, the amount that I like cared about my outfits, and I was so worried like if I didn't have the perfect outfit I wouldn't end up where I'm supposed to be. Like no, mainly wear something that you feel like confident in and yourself in, and something that really like describes you. You don't have to wear the like highest heels or the flashiest outfit. Just be like yourself and wear what you feel best in and most comfortable in. And outfits really don't matter. Like they don't. Like no one sorority isn't gonna pick you over someone else because of what you're wearing. Like no one cares about outfits like at all. And that is something I didn't realize just from like watching all those sorority videos on YouTube. And I made a sorority video back like almost like 2 years ago. That is insane. But I made a going through recruitment video, and my style, just noting, is very different than it is now. Yeah, outfits really don't matter that much. Don't stress. Like you can wear whatever, and like we said, it's a values-based recruitment is what Longwood preaches, and that is something like we all believe in. We don't care what you wear, we just care about like the type of person you are. But my suggestion, because there were a few questions in there that like talk about outfits, and just my main advice for outfits is just wear what you think you'll be comfortable in, because you will be in it all day. Don't wear shoes that give you blisters or pants that are like too tight and you have to like, you can't sit down in. Like wear stuff that you could like sit down, crisscross applesauce, because in some rooms you're like sitting down, some you're standing up. Just wear what you feel comfortable in, and also something that you think like describes you as a person and really reflects who you are.
But I completely agree with what Vega said. Like you just need to wear something that you feel like represents you as a person, because you are trying to join a sorority that you feel like you vibe the most with, so you don't want to try to dress like somebody else or try to be somebody else.
So for our next question, it is, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give? And we're gonna break that down into two things because I'm not really sure like specifically what the person was talking about. My biggest piece of advice if you're on the fence about joining a sorority is to just like see how it goes. Don't put too much pressure going into freshman year, like should I join, should I not? Like you have so much time to figure it out. It'll work out the way it's supposed to. You will end up where you're supposed to be, no matter if like you went to all the open houses or not, or did whatever. You will end up where you're supposed to be, and it'll all work out the way it's supposed to.
And then my biggest piece of advice for recruitment is just to keep an open mind. Like, a lot of sororities will surprise you. Like, I had such deep conversations with multiple sororities, and it really, like, I was like, wow, I didn't know that they were like this, or like certain things that they said like surprised me. And a lot of my friends actually like went into recruitment and they were like, oh, I like this sorority, and then their minds completely changed.
Expect your mind to like change a million times. And I know some people, like she said, like some people like will do a complete flip, like, oh, I love this story, oh actually wait, I love this one like so much more.
Yeah, just be yourself, and wherever you're supposed to end up, that is where you're going to be.
You will like find your home no matter what. We do plan on doing another Q&A just about recruitment once it gets a little bit closer. So if you have any questions, comment them down below, or like DM me on Instagram. Even if it isn't sorority based, I would be happy to answer questions about like meal plans, residential dorms, any of that. I would love to answer your questions.
The whole point of this video is just to like pretty much welcome everyone. Like, we just want everybody to feel comfortable. Like, we know that it is like a lot transitioning from like high school to college. Like, we just want everyone to feel comfortable. Like, that was the whole point of the Q&A.
Yeah, it's not, this Q&A was just to like help y'all, because I know I needed so much help whenever I like got to Longwood and was thinking about joining a sorority. So we just wanted to like be able to give y'all some insight, and I know this barely gives you anything. There's so much more, so I plan on doing a lot more, but DM me if you need anything. And we are so excited to meet y'all. I am so excited to meet the new freshman class. It is so fun whenever we get a new group of people in, because it's like Longwood is pretty small, and by the end of each year you're kind of like, okay, I need a new bunch.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to meet y'all. It's gonna be so much fun, and whether you go through Greek life or not, like I want to be friends with y'all. I have so many friends that aren't in Greek life, and that's fine. I don't care. Like this video, subscribe, because I plan on posting a lot more college content coming up. I'm moving into my house soon, which is super exciting. I'll do a bunch of vlogs. I didn't really post that much last year, but I plan on posting a lot this year, so definitely subscribe. Look out for all that. And we are so excited to have you at Longwood. Longwood is such a tight-knit and close community, and I can't wait to get to know so many of you.
I'm so excited to go back.
So excited. Okay, well, peace out.
Yeah, your camera's about to die.
Slam. Bye.